Hello and welcome to Power and Perspective. It is what we are now calling Wild Wednesdays. Okay, that sounded cheesy.
A little bit.
I'm gonna you're able to submit acceptable W words to the chat to label these Wednesdays. But I am April. This is Aaron, and we reframe conversations with empathy and humor. Today, our conversation is about meditation with the famous Shay. Oh my God. If we had like that little clapping applause sound, can you get on that, Aaron?
Remind me a list of things and I will.
Like this. Yes, thank you, Shay, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So, Shay, I forgot to share this with you. Usually Aaron and I share our perspective on the issue before we dive into the expert's perspective. So my personal perspective is that I tried meditating like off and on like forever and never could stick with it. My mind, as you guys already know, is like a pack of squirrels that live in there and going many different directions. So meditation was just, I felt out of my reach, right? But then is it this way, isn't it? It's up.
I'm on this side or this side?
Yeah, you're right, April, but we can barely see your hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I forgot that I'm small. So enter Shay. Enter Shay. I took an intro meditation course from Shay, and now I meditate pretty much every day. Full transparency, I did not meditate this morning because work started at 5:30 a.m. I always say if I can't meditate in the morning, I'm going to meditate like when I get to work, and I really could have. There was some time in there, so it's a work in progress. But I personally feel like daily meditation is one of the 5 foundational things of life. And now that I said that, you want to know all 5, don't you? Meditation, journaling, nutrition, movement. Oh, and sleep. Golly, ball, I can't believe I forgot that one. I think that's number 1.
It's overrated.
But yeah, it's imperative to your wellness. So that's where I feel about meditation. Aaron, have you meditated?
Well, like traditional meditation, like stopping and focusing on meditation for its sake. I have on and off. Generally, I find myself more de-stressed by other activities. Like learning actually work de-stresses me because I get to be one of the special kinds of people where work de-stresses me. But it's one of those things that hold on. We just had an incident.
What happened? That was
We
crazy.
had an incident.
Welcome to Wild Wednesday. I feel like the car salesman.
So all of the videos all messed up. So yeah, let's move on from that while I am distracted for a minute.
Okay, yes. So there we are. So Shay, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Okay. So I create meditations and courses. My 3 pillars that I focus on are gratitude, meditation, and affirmations. These are the 3 tools. These are my 3 non-negotiables that I do every day. Just like you have your 5. I actually have 6. So I start with exercise, then I do my meditation, then I do my gratitude, then I do my affirmations, and then I do some intention setting, and then I do some visualizations. But always meditation is in there as the number 1 non-negotiable. It lays the foundation for everything else. So, yes. And I started meditation to just kind of help me with my daily life. I found that I was having a really hard time with just the grind. I found I would wake up and I'd be stressed about my day, about all the things that I had to do, when am I going to find me time? And then because I was in this state, I just found that this high anxiety, stress state was with me through the whole day. And then because I was in that state, everything was reactive. Everything was like I just felt like I never had time to breathe, and so I had read that meditation can help you find calm and balance in your day. I was following this article and they talked about this thing called the mindful gap. And the mindful gap is this moment in time that opens up for you. So, sometimes there's a situation that happens, right? I'll use my son as an example. Like he's young, he's very clumsy. He's in a very clumsy stage right now. So he spills his drink all the time, and as a parent, it's going to happen. But when it happens for the 10th time in the day, it's 5 o'clock, you're trying to get dinner on the table, and then he spills his drink, and then it's like, oh my gosh, in that moment, right? And so you lose it, you freak out on him, or I freak out on him, but I know it's not his fault, right? But in that moment, all the stresses of the day just kind of come together, and then you blow up. And I found that when I meditated, that moment, it's like time almost stops. It was almost like when my son spills his drink, I'm able to say that moment, it's like I don't have to get mad. That thought of, okay, I want to get mad, I'm pissed off, I won't. And it's that moment for you to make that choice of how do you really want to react in this situation. So I just found the more I meditated, more of those moments started showing up in my day. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, my days got easier. I was able to just handle things that came at me, and I didn't go to a 10 right away. I didn't freak out all the time, right? I was able to just take that moment and go, okay, how do I really want to deal with this? So that was the main reason why I started meditating. And then as a result of meditating every day, other things started happening. I was like, oh my God, meditation is the best. And then it just spiraled, and I'm like, you know what? Other people need to know how to meditate, because 10 minutes a day is a game changer. It can change everything for you. 10 minutes every day. So I made the meditation course.
Awesome. As you were talking about that, what was coming up for me is I remember like what I call the old me, and I almost like craved that stress. I almost craved those incidences happening, like I just think of things at work. I almost craved for a student to misbehave because it caused this adrenaline, right? And for me to handle the situation. And I've never thought of this before, but for some reason, while you were talking, that's what I felt like. And so it's like a spiral. Like I crave these negative interactions throughout the day, and my negative reaction to them. Not everybody would say that it was a negative reaction, but the new me would say it is. So now that I meditate, I feel a difference. Like I don't crave that interaction. I diffuse that interaction.
Yes.
So instead of it being an interaction that escalates, it's an interaction where I acknowledge it, I deal with it, and we de-escalate. And so now that's the feeling I crave, right? I crave that peace instead of craving that like basically adrenaline rush that I would get from situations that I create an escalation process for.
Yes, totally. I totally agree with you. Yes, when you meditate, you kind of switch, and you start to you act from a place of calm, right? And you de-escalate. You don't want things to get that big. You actually try to keep things.
Yeah, exactly. And it's better for everybody. So Steven, our super fan, got on very early and asking his questions. And Steven asks, is there a difference between hypnosis and meditation? And Steven, guess what? I can answer this because I'm currently in a hypnosis certification program. It's like you knew. How did you know?
He's following you.
And we actually talked about this in our last class, that hypnosis is a lot like guided meditation, where someone is walking you through the process of relaxation. Some people might call them also like visualizations. Again, a guided visualization where someone is walking you through the process. So hypnosis is a lot like that, where someone else is walking you through the process, because you get in the same state, the same relaxed state, in hypnosis and in meditation. So yeah, there you go. Also, he suggests Warzelment Wednesday. Steven, is that a real word?
It is now. It's been stated. That's how words work. Yeah, that's how living language works. It's a wonderful thing. So, if I can just take a step back, because, like I said, like my thought of meditation is quite varied in as to what I would consider meditation. So, for the sake of setting us all on the same kind of playing field here, what is meditation, like, specifically, for the sake of the conversation?
Okay. Meditation.
Small question.
Is any process that leads to an inner state of relaxed awareness. I think succinctly, that's the best way to put it. It's inner state of relaxed awareness.
Is there a meditation for dogs? Because I think I have one that might need this practice.
Like, really, the goal of meditation is to be still. And that's why a lot of people have a hard time with meditation, is because we are not trained to be still. We are taught and told, move, time is money, do this, do that. You actually feel guilty when you do nothing. Like, I know for the longest time, I felt like I was wasting my time when I didn't do anything with my time. Right? So I can see why meditation is sometimes tricky for people to grasp, right? Because it's not part of our culture. Like it doesn't fit in with our culture. And it requires you to do the opposite of what you're being trained and told to do most of your life, right? But it is in that stillness, it is in that place where you find peace. It is in that stillness, because what happens is we get programmed, right? We're programmed and told this and told this, and you should be like this, and this will help you, and do this and do this. We're at a point now where how much of this stuff is really you? How much of this stuff is your opinion, what you want? So what meditation does, and this is in the beginning why people have a lot hard time with the monkey mind, is because they feel like they have to be doing something, they have to be thinking about something, right? And so the first thing that I teach in my course is to learn how to clear all of that. You just slowly learn how to clear everything, right? And it takes time to get there, but once you get there, you get to this place of quietness and stillness. And for each person, they can call it different things. Some people call it their higher self. Some people call it the intuition. Some people call it your inner wisdom. You know, there's many different names for it. I like to call it the intuition. Then this is where your true self lies, where once you get rid of everything else, you show up. You get to actually really, truly get to know you in that space. But you can only get there once you remove everything. Does that help? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes me think though, like, have you these new, I guess it's not new things, but like, so to placate, in my opinion, to placate people who are not comfortable with meditation and sitting and doing nothing, because again, yes, we have been trained to like do, and productivity is optimal. Like optimal productivity is what we're searching for. There's this thing where it's saying like if you're doing something but it leads to relaxation, that could be meditation. So active meditation, walking meditation,
Exercise.
gardening meditation,
Mm-hmm.
exercise. Like, so what are your thoughts on that? I could see maybe like walking, because your body knows how to walk on its own, right? So you don't have to think through it. But like gardening, I guess it could be a repetitive motion. What are your thoughts?
The key thing is awareness. So whatever activity you are doing, if it's done with awareness, like then you could call that meditation, like the walking meditation. It's one thing to walk and be lost in your thoughts and be thinking about work, your family, money, or whatever. That's not meditation. Walking meditation is when you're walking and you are in that moment. You're aware that you're walking. You're aware of everything that's like around you. You're not inside your head. You're in the moment. You're aware. Does that make sense? So like gardening, you could be gardening, right? And you could be meditating while you're gardening, but the key is the aware. If you're gardening, you're absent-mindedly gardening, and you're thinking about that TV show you watched last night while you're gardening, then no, right? So I think the key thing is anything that puts you in a state of relaxed awareness, that's meditation.
That
Well,
makes sense.
The first thing that came up to me when you were talking, when you were looking for examples of what you were saying, April, was mandala. To create mandala, to go through that process, because that's like the requisite Zen example, right, of creation.
What do you know about mandala?
What?
What do you know about mandala?
What do I not know about?
Did you watch?
not to horn toot
Did you
over
watch
here, but
conference? You know, I had a whole session on mandala art.
no, I did not know.
That's crazy that you bring that up.
But it's an activity whose purpose is that presence, that mindfulness, and also even to create and take nothing away.
Wow. You're like digging deep. I'm impressed.
Whoa.
Right?
Whoa. I gotta think about that one, Aaron.
Again, say it again.
What, to create and take nothing away?
Create and take nothing away. That's interesting. Because you leave it all there?
Yeah, that it's action for action's sake. It's not for a higher purpose.
It's a release.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Interesting. Oh my goodness. Look at Aaron. Who knew, people? I can't believe you brought that up. So, just so we don't get behind in the chat, Jacob asked about Reiki. You don't do Reiki, do you, Shay?
No. I Reiki, I've kind of read up about it, but no, Reiki is not my forte.
And Reiki's not really related to meditation. It's not really related, is it?
Well, I've done an intro to Reiki course, and from what I gather of it, it's an energy course. It's an energy course, and basically taking universal energy and pouring it into the person, and then using that to kind of heal. And there's like symbols and things that you do that are kind of ritualistic in the session to kind of like bring in the energy and send it through the person. So I would say Reiki is it's more about energy work, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes. Jacob also says, and I'm only reading this because I have an answer for it. Jacob says, I literally just stepped in cat poop. People aren't interested anymore, just so you know. So call me out. I literally just stepped in cat poop. What type of meditation will keep me from physically and mentally destroying my cat? And Jacob, just like Shay said, the more you meditate, the more there will be a pause, a gap between the action that is happening and your reaction. So if you do a month of meditations and then you step in cat poop again, you're likely to see a different result.
It will take you months not to kill your cat, is what she's saying.
What? Not months, but it took me, I would say, a good month to say that meditation was really doing something. Shay, how long do you think, did you just start meditating and were like, oh, I got this?
No. I would say anywhere between second, third week, or a month in, you'll really start to see the benefits. In the beginning, after a meditation session, you'll just feel a calm. Like you'll just, like if you were at like a 9, you'll feel yourself going down to maybe an 8 or a 7, right? And then the beauty of meditation is that it stacks. So that's why you kind of have to keep doing it, and eventually you'll see, because it builds. Because what you're really doing every time you sit down and meditate is you are teaching your mind to be calm. You're teaching yourself to slow down, right? Every time you sit down and you practice calming the monkey mind and you use the breathing techniques, it's like a habit, right? Like you're training yourself to do something new. And then eventually the rest of you will pick up on it, and it'll become something natural that you do. Right? So that's why it takes time for the effects to really show. So in the beginning, you're calm, you can probably hold for maybe the next 30 minutes, and then something will happen, and then you're right back up at a 9 or 10 again. But after 2 weeks of meditating, maybe you can hold that calmness for the next 2 hours. And anything that comes at you, and nothing, it's okay. And then the third hour, it's like, oh, I'm going to kill you now, right? No,
yeah.
But yeah, it builds, right? Go ahead. Answer the question. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I can totally, when I first started meditating, my daughter is like, she's got like little antennas, like when could I bother mom and like make her the most mad? Like that's she's good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I meditate outside on the porch. Like she literally has to open a door to like go out, and like it's an effort to bother me. And she would do it like almost every day. And in the beginning, it's almost like forget it, I can't meditate now, right? But I will tell you guys, like after a couple months, like she would come in, I'd be literally in the middle of a meditation, address her, she would walk away, and like right back, right back.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, yes. And that's how I felt too. I shocked myself. Like, I shocked myself out of meditation again. Like, oh, look at how fast that was. Okay, go back. Yeah. Yeah, but they like eventually, like you said, becomes a habit.
Yes, like that, what you're practicing in the meditation session, you actually start to carry and do and with you outside of the practice, right? Yeah, like I now in what it is this awareness builds, right? Like the awareness that you start to feel in the meditation, you start to see it in your everyday life. Like now, because I'm very in tune with my energy, and I can sense when I can feel myself rising into a 9 or a 10, you know. And that's what meditation has done. It's helped me become aware of my own energy, my own moods, my own swings, mood swings. And then I'm almost able to like catch myself before it happens, right? Like sometimes you get into an argument. Like sometimes my husband and I get into really heated arguments, but because we both meditate now, we both get to this point where like, I'm gonna get mad. You're not looking good. Let's not talk anymore. Let's just walk away right now before this gets worse. Like it's even changed the way we communicate with each other. We just don't go to 10 anymore. We know better. Going to 10 doesn't help us. So let's just stop when we feel the 7 coming on, and just,
Yeah.
When
And that becomes, go ahead.
Well, that sentiment is echoed. There was a 2016 study that UC Berkeley did. They had 88 couples. They took cortisol levels in each couple before and after they discussed a conflict in their relationship. Unsurprisingly, cortisol levels spiked during the discussion, a sign of high stress. But levels in the most mindful people, both men and women, were quicker to return to normal after the conflict ended. The result echoed many studies of mindfulness and romantic relationships from the beginning to the very end, kind of proving that it's not necessarily not always about how high you can get, but how you can correct yourself more quickly.
Yes, that is so true.
And like you said, awareness, Shay, like awareness of what's happening within you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's why I think it's super like useful to teach even our young people, right? About meditation, about awareness. Maybe we can catch them young before, plug your ears, Aaron, before they get stuck in the patriarchy bull hockey.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you think? Do your kids meditate, Shay?
Actually, my daughter does. This blew me away. I remember my daughter having to do a school project, and her topic was, you have to pick a topic that you want to prove. You want to prove that something works. That's like, you want to prove something. And her topic was, meditation really does work.
Oh my gosh.
Like, whoa. And her first sentence was, meditation has made my mother a better mom. And at first I was like, am I a bad mom? But the fact that she recognized the change in me, from not meditating to meditating, she says, my mom used to be a really high stress person. She got mad very easily. Now that she meditates, she doesn't get mad as much. She doesn't yell as much. Like, again, this is a 10-year-old talking, right? So, but to hear her notice that. And then she came to me and said, sometimes when she's been asking me a lot of questions about meditation, and I said it helps with your thoughts. It helps, sometimes if you have like thoughts that are keep repeating themselves in your mind, or you keep replaying things, meditation can help you with that. And so she was kind of struggling with that. And so she asked to take my course. And she did. She did. She just finished it like a week ago. And so now she's just trying to like maintain the schedule and keep meditating and stuff. But it is beautiful. So be a role model. They will follow. They will copy what you do. They are watching everything you do. And like even my son, like he's not quite ready for the meditation because he can't sit still, but when I listen to him play with his toys, they talk about gratitude. They talk about meditation. And one of the things, just the other day, they were role playing and they were telling, like, they were pretending that one of the kids were in trouble. And they're like, you should go meditate and calm yourself down. I was like, oh my God, really?
That is so awesome. I have to tell you, I have not gotten my kids to meditate yet.
Well, I would say my daughter really kind of picked up on all the changes about a year in, right?
Okay.
So yeah, like it like she was watching me. And the other thing I had to do when you mentioned your daughter interrupting you was I had to set boundaries in my house, So like I remember I get up really early and I try to do it before everybody else wakes up so that I have that quiet time. But then my son started catching on. He's like, oh, mommy wakes up at 6. So I can catch time with mommy if I get up at 6:30, and then he would come and interrupt my session all the time. So it came to a point where I had to say, you cannot come into my office until 7:30. Like I just had to set a time. And I'm like, you're not allowed. You're just not allowed to come in here until after 7:30. And there were tears. There was yelling, and it took time to establish this, but he gets it now. Right? And they know you don't go into mommy's office until after 7:30.
That is a super good point, because I bet there are some moms that feel like straight up mom shame, right? Because they think that their ultimate highest purpose is to be there for their kids, right? And if I'm waking up early and they want to spend time with me, of course I should spend time with them. So, like, what would be your answer to that? What is the benefit of meditation versus like spending that extra time with your kids?
Well, I tell the kids that I need this time, right? This is the time that I use to, and I use the term, I fill my cup, because they've learned about that, filling your cup, filling the bucket. Like I remember they coming home from school and they had these exercises about the buckets. So I actually used that and said, I have a bucket too, and I got to fill my buckets just like you got to fill yours. And I'm like, I can't fill your bucket if mine is empty. And so I really kind of use that to demonstrate the why that this is actually self-care, and that when I do this, I am a better mom, and I told them, I go, when I do this, I don't get mad as easily, I don't sometimes, and I tell them, I go, sometimes I yell because that's just what's coming out. I go, I don't want to yell. I don't want to be angry mommy. I don't want to be crazy mommy. I go, meditation helps that crazy mommy stay calm. And so when you talk, so repeatedly saying this, and then meditating, and then showing up as a different mom, all these things combined, my children are seeing, whoa, this really does work. Like my son, he's starting to open up to meditation because he's come to me and say, mommy, sometimes I just do things and then afterwards I realize I shouldn't have done it. Right? And then he's like, will meditation help with that?
Yes.
So he's curious.
Yeah.
Right? He's not quite ready to try it, but he's thinking about it. He's curious. So maybe when he's 9 or 10, he'll try it, because he's only 7 right now, right? So
yeah. There are some, I know some like classes are instilling mindfulness, maybe not necessarily meditation per se, but mindfulness practices like early on in education. And I hope that that spreads like
Yes, me too.
like so much in this new SEL, social emotional learning world. Um, I think it could change the world. Literally could change the world if everybody was more mindful and meditated. Everybody.
Yes. I always kind of want to say if everybody meditated, there would be no more wars. We would have world peace. Because everybody would be mindful. They would think before they acted. You wouldn't have all these like, you know, regrets. I found that's the one thing I found is that I have less regrets now because I'm not doing things out of reaction anymore. Like I'm thinking about them before I do them. And okay, the other thing I wanted to mention was when you stop, it like completely just falls. So like this, I went away for 4 days camping, and because it was a change in routine, and we were sharing the place with my sister and her baby, the routine was completely off. There was no time. I didn't know where to insert my self-care practice in that environment. So it didn't get done. It didn't get done for 5 days. And I swear, on day 5, I just felt like angst all day long. I was just like, everything's making me mad.
You could say that.
Yeah.
I don't know how it goes.
We're rated R show. I'm just trying to be more PG.
Yeah, everything was pissing me off, right? And like everything, I was yelling about everything, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then when I went back to meditate, it took half an hour to get to that stillness. Normally, it usually takes me 10 minutes. But because I hadn't meditated for that, it's like the awareness drops. Everything just drops. So I miss meditation when I don't meditate. Like when you've done it for a while and you stop, you really can see how much it's helping
so
you.
Obvious.
Yes. Yes.
Aaron, did you have a question?
Well, I'm trying to process a lot based on the couple things that have just happened. And I don't think I'm going to come to anything succinct here. It seems like part of this might also be creating helpful routines in your life, like in general, and establishing expectations as far as time that you have for yourself. And I'm not, it's going to sound like I'm just a hardcore skeptic right now, which there is part of that, but is that enough part of that practice when we talk about like what is and what isn't meditation, like setting those boundaries and creating those expectations for time in your life, if that's sufficient to, like you said, fill your bucket, and not necessarily if it's something that isn't necessarily mindfulness oriented, like say if it's reading or practicing something, to have that time where you may actually be in your head, but it's a routine that you're used to, and it manages your expectations for all of the situations around you going forward that day, if that question makes sense.
Yes. Sorry. Well, what I gather from that is, it's not just about meditation. It's actually more about self-care, right? And what do you use for self-care? Is meditation the only thing you use for self-care, or can it be something else that puts you into that state of mindfulness and awareness? I believe you're right in the sense that it should be self-care, and you should pick something, whatever self-care practice nourishes and replenishes you, right? And the key is nourish and replenish, because I remember trying to define self-care, and self-care, going to the spa and taking care of yourself and getting your nails done, yes, that is self-care, but it's not nourishing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like And I guess at the end of the day, whatever self-care you do, you want to do the self-care so it touches you at the soul level. And I think that's the best way to describe it, is whatever you choose to do, make sure it's not surfacey. Like, it's just like, and I think that's what going to the spa and getting your nails done is. It only supports you and nourishes you up to a certain level, because it can very easily be just pinged and then gone. Whereas if you take something a little more substantial, something that touches you at the soul, little things cannot shake you. You are more grounded and solid. So my answer to that is yes, self-care. It doesn't have to be meditation, but pick something that truly nourishes and replenishes you at the soul level.
And I think, does it have a lasting effect?
Yes.
It's
And
another
so
good question.
that's
Like,
what I
getting my
found.
hair and nails done makes me feel good in the moment, but is it going to
Carry
make me more mindful? Probably not. It's going to
It's-
make me feel good
yeah.
in the moment.
Like, is it something that's going to carry you forward that you can just kind of keep with you, so that when, you're being challenged, it comes back and serves you.
And it's all to lead to happiness and what I call an undercurrent of joy, right? And not like toxic positivity or toxic happiness, but and that's a thing, Aaron.
It's
He hates when I use
oxymoronic, and I can't help
buzzwords.
but laugh. Sorry.
Buzzwords. But anyway, it's an undercurrent of joy, right? An undercurrent of knowing that peace is there and something you can return to. Like, I don't feel like when I get my hair and nails done, I can't return to the peace of that. Although I do look good.
Fabulous.
There's no peace in it. Yeah. Stephen asks, our resident odd question asker, BTW, are you afraid that the power of meditation could be used for evil? I tried to think of it. Do you think meditation could be used for evil?
It really depends on the person.
Like, if they're inherently evil and they meditate on evil, if your soul would have to be evil, because you're separating your mind and your human form. To me, I call it your soul self. You know how you said intuition. Some people call it intuition, higher self. I call it your soul self, the self you were born with. That self would have to be evil, right?
What's the question again?
We talk about weird things here. Could meditation be used for evil?
Could it be used for
I think Steven watches too many Disney movies. I think I'm thinking of Despicable Me.
Well, I have notes for this as well.
Shut up, do you?
To some extent, yeah.
You have research on using meditation for evil?
Well, no, it's more on the idea of charlatanism, because meditation as of 2021 is a $1.2 billion industry.
Yes. I see what
and
you're
it's
saying.
expected
So
it's expected to grow to 2.08 billion by 2022.
Damn, do you hear that, Shay? Get on that ish.
I have a course.
Are you saying it can be monopolized by capitalism? Is that the evil that we're talking about?
Those are not words that I would use, and those are very dangerous words. Which
I like to fly in the face of danger. I have no idea what I'm saying.
Well, I feel meditation itself could be abused, just like anything else, right? With ill intention, it can be abused. Someone can go and create a guided meditation, and within that meditation, they could put messaging that is not, positive and conducive or good for other people. I mean, yes, it does have that. You could go there, right? But I don't know. So just like with everything else, you have to discern.
Yep.
You know, and and when you do a meditation, a lot of like when I create the guided meditations, I create a warm feeling, and so you can tune into that when you listen to something. You know, you have a little internal guiding system, and if it doesn't resonate, stop. Right? Like so, it can be turned evil.
Well,
It's just who's using it.
And there are segments of the industry that do things like promote meditation for things like curing disease or helping with drug addiction and things like that, that may be above and beyond the scope. They are using meditation as their mode for collecting money to benefit from people who are suffering.
I mean, there's different levels of meditation, right? And I'm not even at that level, but yeah, if you can get to certain levels where you are so in tune with your soul and inner peace that you can actually have a dialogue and start kind of tuning in and telling your body how to behave, and you know, like, but that's very high levels of meditation. You have to be meditating for a long time, and you have to like get into that zone, you know, and stay in that zone. So you can get there, but I would be wary of people who promise that and make it sound easy, because to get to stillness and hold it for like half an hour, that takes a while to even just get there, you know? And if you're going to get to that point where you can heal your body and all this kind of stuff, you need to go deep. So it's doable, but it's not as easy as I would think that people are selling it as, you know, it's not an overnight solution.
I think it's important to remember how powerful our minds are too.
Yes.
Because we talk about this in hypnosis as well, is that look at I think of the House episode, as everybody should, where they're on the airplane and he basically creates symptoms in people by just mentioning like, this person has this contagious disease and it means your right arm shakes, and then people's right arms start shaking, right? Because of the power of suggestion. And it's what advertising is all about, right? The power of suggestion. And when you're in that meditative state, it's again the meditation state and or hypnosis state, your mind is more open to suggestion, and therefore can be used for not good, like, I can't think of a word all of a sudden, not good intentions, right? It could be not good intentions, and that's where it's important, like you said, Shay, of the awareness, because I remember the time, like if I think back to the times where I was addicted to that adrenaline, addicted to that negative assessment. If I had started a meditation practice at that time that had a negative intention, I could see myself actually craving that, right? Craving that negative meditation. So yeah, it's super important to be super aware of where you're at and what it's causing in your life.
Like, the important thing is meditation will help you be aware, but you still get to choose what you do, right? Awareness just gives you more information to work with, really, at the end of the day, right? It's like right now you work with A, B, and C. When you meditate, all of a sudden E and F become part of your equation. You just have more information to work with. You see a bigger picture. But at the end of the day, you still have choice. You still have to choose your path and how you're going to go about it. And sometimes the extra information will change your decision. Sometimes it won't. That's the other thing, right?
But you're more aware of it. Lynn.
Yes.
And you're more aware that you are making it's on you.
Yes.
Do you feel like you are able to connect with people differently?
Yes. I judge less now. I have more compassion, you know, and it's that awareness. It's just like sometimes, you know, I'm having a conversation and it's like, oh, I have a point I want to add to that person. And there's a part of me that wants to like interrupt and say my piece, right? You know, but with the awareness, it's like, no, let them speak. you have your turn later, you know? And remember how you don't like it when people interrupt you, right? So again, it's the awareness. And what am I going to do with this information now? Am I going to act on it or am I going to ignore it? Right? And sometimes I will interrupt because it's like, I just have to say it.
Yeah.
Even though I know I shouldn't, I'm just going to say it because I just have to say it. Right? And then other times it's like, no, let them speak.
Yeah, I feel like you talked about before, like I feel like my soul self, when the more I get to know my soul self, which I do through meditation a lot of times, the more I can see that self in others.
Yes.
So like I'm like you said, way more empathetic, like, oh, like I know what story you're telling yourself to make you say those things that you're saying. I know that's not your soul self. So
Yes.
I'm going to let it be and let it pass without making it an issue.
Yes. Yes. Right. It's just you're just more aware of things. There's more information. So then you judge less and you just your behavior changes.
Yeah, and therefore others' behavior changes. Even your energy. Like this is a thing. Don't plug your ears. Leave your ears wide open. Your energy and expectation changes the behavior and energy of others. And this is no more evident than in a classroom because when you walk into a classroom of children, that millisecond will instantly determine how things will go, right? If you walk in, I walk in with expectation. My students behave because I expect them to. Like it's just, and your energy changes, and I don't know how to describe it, but like, yeah, it's not even without even an interaction, it changes your interaction.
Well, when you're more aware of your own path as you go through life, the more empathetic you can be toward the fact that not everybody may be where you are, but may be on the path to where you are. Or vice versa.
Yeah.
When you see somebody that has surpassed you, to be understanding with yourself that you are on that path and you do not need to be there now.
Yes.
Yes. Look at
You got
Aaron.
it.
Yes, that is so important too. The
That was so well said.
empathy. Yes. Oh, write that ish down. Somebody put that on a shirt. I don't know what it would be, but like just make it succinct. Put it on a shirt. That is amazing. Katie asks, Shay, do you have a routine to start meditating, like music, posture, space? Like, do you have tips on for the beginner?
Yes, definitely. So, first tip is quiet place. Have a quiet place, right? You don't want to be interrupted. You don't need a lot to start, just somewhere is comfortable to sit down. I don't recommend lying down when you first start because chances are you'll probably end up falling asleep. Because when you meditate, you do tend to kind of relax the body and you do breathing exercises to relax the body. And if you're lying down, you could fall asleep. I mean, once you get better, then you can meditate lying down. But in the beginning, I highly recommend sitting up just because it's better for you. And then what I will do is I will share my breath acronym because I find that when people first start to meditate, the hardest thing they have is sitting still and in that calm and that monkey mind, right? So I recommend music. I recommend picking any kind of music with no words, something slow, soothing, and calming. And the main thing for the music is to block out all other distractions, right? If you meditate in silence, every little noise will distract you and you won't be able to focus, right? So when you get really good and you can tune out everything, then you can do it in silence. But when you first start, I recommend some kind of music. And start small, 3 minutes, 5 minutes max. Don't try and do a 10-minute session on your first time because then you will just not like it because you won't be able to sit still and then you'll feel like you failed, right? So 3 minutes and then all you gotta and just try to breathe for those 3 minutes. And if you want, I will give you breath. So BRE. B stands for breathe in, R for relax, E for exhale. Breathe in and then relax on your exhale. So do this 3 times when you first sit down in a meditation session. And then after E comes A, and A is for ask questions. Ask questions about your breath. And the idea is to just, your goal is to be present, right? And so when you first sit down, you're going to be thinking about all these other things. So what you want to do is use the breath to anchor you. So breathe in, relax on your exhale, and then use the A to ask questions. How is my breath moving? Is it moving fast? Is it moving slow? Just zone in on your breath. You know, does my arm tickle when I breathe really fast? You know, what is my heartbeat doing? How does my stomach react? Do I find anything you want to ask about the body and the breath and the questions, and just zone in. And if you can just do that for 3 minutes, you have meditated. My recommendation for starting. And then you just build on that. And the next day, maybe do for 4 minutes. You know, maybe you need to do 3 minutes for a week. And then after a week, add a minute. But start slow.
Why do you think meditation focuses so much on breath?
Why on breath? So the power of the breath. Your breath is something that doesn't need your attention. You can breathe without thinking about it. But as soon as you focus on your breath, you become present. And that's why meditation focuses on the breath, because it's the easiest thing to help you get present. And it's the one thing that you have access to all the time. So when you are in a stressful situation, go into your breath. And if you go into your breath enough in meditation and you use it to calm yourself in meditation, when you are in a stressful situation, the breath will work to calm and relax you. But if you don't use it to calm and relax you, it won't do that for you. Does that make sense?
Build good habits.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like Stephen mentioned, meditation while driving on the interstate seems to check all the boxes. But actually, I know you're trying to be funny, Stephen, but it's true. Nowhere did we say you need to close your eyes for meditation, right? You're focusing on your breath. So if you're stuck in traffic, that's the perfect time to focus on your breath, right? And relaxing. And it'd be better if more people did that, stuck in traffic.
It sounds like that's not the
breathe.
place to start. That's
Yeah, it's
not
probably
where
not a good place to
you
start.
learn meditative
I'm
practice.
just saying that once you meditate, like that'll be so much easier too. Like y'all know the ding that I have that goes on my phone, which I changed so you guys can barely hear it now. Well, actually, it's because I got a stupid iPhone, but that's another topic. But it goes off every 15 minutes, and every 15 minutes, it literally reminds me to pay attention to my breath. That's it. Is to pay. So it's like a mini meditation. Like, oh, April, okay, breathe.
Meditation. I like it.
Meditation. You can steal that, Shay. It's up for grabs. Meditation. It's a mini meditation.
So-
Meditation.
Meditation. Okay.
It's a
Well,
we have
mouthful.
we have
Yeah,
ADD.
Yeah, let's.
So 5 minutes, 30 seconds here and there.
Yeah. Just breathe. Breathe.
Oh, and it goes, and I mean, and speaking of the time, the duration that you can spend, I wanted to get to this because I thought it was really interesting when I was doing my research. I found an old Zen saying that says you should sit in meditation for 20 minutes every day unless you're too busy. Then you should sit for an hour.
I agree.
And I thought that was profound.
When it is.
It is. Those 20 minutes will serve you in so many ways, right? Like I just found before I didn't have time. And like, I remember just trying to decide when I was going to meditate, right? And trying to find time was difficult. But I found that when I made the time for meditation, more time opened up in my day.
Yeah, time is static, and I say this to people all the time. If you're looking for time, you will never find it. you have to make time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dude, Aaron is pulling them out. Although I'm very offended by Jacob's comment that I just noticed that Aaron should have his own podcast.
Hey, we're working on that. One Wednesday a month, possibly coming soon.
Yeah.
We're in.
Yeah, possibly coming soon to you, an Aaron only podcast Wednesday. But still offended, Jacob. This is my offended face. Yes. I was trying to make sure we didn't miss anything. I don't think we missed anything real, except for next Wednesday, why are iPhones the devil? Right? Why or how is Apple using marketing to make us think that we all know? I got nothing. I was trying to fit in meditation
several times a day. My watch reminds me to breathe, and not just to breathe, but gives me a visual stimuli to focus on my breathing and nothing else. Did I break you? Because it's an Apple product?
No. Well, I know. I can't. Yes. Also, I got Katie put a genius idea. So the one Wednesday a month where you're on your own, I get to pick the topic, and you have to talk about that topic.
Yeah. It'd be interesting.
That's the clap sound effect.
I'm working on it.
Breathe, Steven says, breathe, unless you're too busy. But wait, Steven, breathe unless you're too busy, and then breathe twice. Breathe twice. Yeah, I want to say a tip, a personal tip. Every time a guided meditation tells me to think about my thoughts, they're like, okay, notice your thoughts and think about your thoughts. Like, just because you're telling me to, all of a sudden I have no thoughts. Literally, I can't think of anything.
I'm glad that's
because
hereditary.
You told me, think about your thoughts. And I'm like, okay. Oh, shit. Now I have no thoughts. Yeah. So that's a tip for y'all. If you want to try to clear your monkey mind, tell your monkey mind to think about your thoughts. And then they'll all run away, scattered and scared. Oh, Aaron, are you going to start meditating? Just out of curiosity.
Well, I mean, to some extent, I meditate anytime I'm on the water. But
I see that.
I haven't made it there yet, so we'll have to revisit this at some point. There are things I have to take care of to facilitate it. As far as meaningfully.
It does, and it takes, don't forget, people, it takes a lot of time. I think we have TC on the line. TC on the line. I feel like, have you watched?
We're a call-in show now.
We have TC on the line, and I know TC recently started meditating. TC, if you're out there, shout out at us how that's going. If you're not, that's okay too. We forgive you. It's gonna take.
This is
a while.
very awkward. Well,
sorry, I know.
Thank you for joining us, Shay.
I was like, let me wait.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yes, thank you, and thank you for all of the tips. And I highly recommend following Shay. Check her website out, which is like posted, so you can find all the things. As I said before, that's the course that got me to actually meditate. So it's because it's like almost like a daily accountability, and it gives you what you don't have to think, right? You don't have to think. It just gives you what to do each day. And I think that's super important, is make sure you know when you're going to do it so you don't have to make that decision, because making decisions in the morning isn't going to happen. You just say this is what it is. Or at night. Some people meditate at night. Oh, TC just gave us a shout out. I try for 10 minutes a day, and she uses YouTube. Another good resource. Insight Timer. And Shay's on Insight Timer now.
Yes, you can catch my guided meditations on Insight Timer. And then I'll be doing some live streams in there as well. So yeah, look me up in there for sure.
That's on YouTube?
No, Insight Timer is a meditation app.
It's an app. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
On both Android and Apples. So
Yeah, it's available on both. It's true. It's true. And there's tons of like free guided meditations in there. So anybody who is looking to just get familiar or even trying meditation, there's tons in there that are really good. And then I have a couple on gratitude. I have one on chakra, and then I'll be releasing a bunch of breath series one in the next couple of weeks. So make sure you check it out for sure.
and on for sure. And if you do a course, I will tell you one of the great things about Shay's course is it starts off guided. Because I was doing like, guys, I was doing like an hour-long guided meditations, but not meditating on my own at all. Yeah, an hour. I would sit for an hour in a guided meditation, but I wasn't meditating on my own at all. So with Shay, that's Shay's courses when I started doing like my own meditation, because she would just add time at the end of a guided meditation, right? So I would do the little guided meditation and then add the time because I was already in the right state. So that's another tip as well. Check Shay out. She's awesome and the reason I meditate, but she's also over there and you can't see me.
No, you're good. We got your finger. Yeah, your finger in front of your mouth. You're good. Oh, Wozniak Wednesdays.
Wozniak.
Trying to keep everything in the same circle here. So what are we talking about next week?
Hold on, Wozniak. What does it mean? He didn't ever put. Next week we are talking about Aaron's favorite topic. Oh my gosh. It is I want to say the right thing.
Oh, I'm gonna have a coronary next week, aren't I?
He is. He's gonna have a coronary. Shay, you're gonna love this. It is with Emma. She's from Rise of the Creatrix. Emma. And we are talking about, sorry, I want to say it exactly right, guys. Divine feminine in a masculine world.
Ooh.
Emma Lucille, divine feminine in a masculine world.
Oh, that's a whole other
Join
thing.
us.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have a coronary. That's fine.
Oh, you're okay with that? It's because they didn't say the word patriarchy. She means patriarchy. You know that, right? Divine feminine and patriarchy.
Words are important.
I
and
know.
Using appropriate words.
Aaron's argument is that patriarchy just means a
It-
male lead.
It doesn't matter.
And
This is not the forum. We are not here for this. But thank you guys for joining us. Please like, share, subscribe down below. Check out Shay. Share all the stuff. Get more people involved so more people can benefit from it. And we'll see you next week for my coronary. And until then, have meaningful conversations.